नमो शिवाय। In all cultures, in all religions, there is always a ritual of sacrifice. And most of the time, depending upon what the culture is, the priest will find some animal. And in the ancient religions, in the Mayas and Incas, all those, they would even have human sacrifice. And in some parts of the India, also in the human sacrifice. So in all cultures, in everything that we are doing on the planet, in reality, we are always sacrificing something. We are endlessly sacrificing. We are sacrificing our attention to the cell phone. The cell phone, it captures our attention. We sacrifice our attention and get some digital pictures that shine. We are happy with it. If from most of the people will say, I'm going to take away your digital picture device, they will be hurt and they will be in a state of shock. No. You buy a cell phone, it's a phone at your disposal. Then you put your phone into your phone, your names and your contact, and you give it a skin that you like, and you put all your photographs on it, etc. So it keeps on becoming more and more personalized. And now the cell phone is really important for you. It's not a cell phone, it's a part of you. And you're willing to sacrifice your time, which is the most precious thing on the planet, to that dumb device. In reality, I know it is called a smartphone, but it shouldn't be smarter than you. It shouldn't be enough. Like, if time is, and everyone knows it, everyone knows that time is the most essential. People pay millions of dollars, let's say, to fly from one place to another as fast as possible. It's the time. People are spending now billions of dollars is being spent so that the route between London and New York would be covered in 3.5 hours, not in the 12 hours, etc., to save time for all the people. And what will the people do with that time is probably drink or something, or spend it more on SMSing and giving it to the cell phone. So it is a smartphone, but it steals from us the most important thing that we have, our time, our attention. So the smartphone is actually smarter than us. It's a dumb device, but it gets the most important thing that we have, our attention, and it gives to us what? Some really very, very banal, and some emojis, not even emotions, a smiling face and we feel good, and a heart and we feel good. That's what we get for giving. A digital fake emotion is what we get for giving the most precious thing on the planet, which is our attention. We sacrifice our attention and we get some shiny picture, digital picture that's not even real, and even probably the emotions, and we feel okay with it. And sacrificing is everywhere. It always seems uncalled for. In one of the most ancient stories, Abraham is loved by God. And one day Abraham is told, go to the mountain and I want a sacrifice. And what is the sacrifice? Okay, I'll go. Because everyone wants to be giving as a sacrifice goat and etc. And we give that sacrifice and then we eat that sacrifice. So it's a good sacrifice. A goat given in sacrifice and then eaten is a yummy treat. So people most of the time, okay. But this time God says something which is slightly awkward. I want you to sacrifice your son. That also in the ancient times, the eldest son, the firstborn, was the one who will continue your life, your name, and everything. I want your eldest son as a sacrifice. And I want you to go up the mountain there where you're closest to God. So Abraham takes his son, goes to the top of the mountain, makes the son lie down. Then gets ready. For those who joined just now, we are always sacrificing in every way that possible. We call our cell phone the smartphone, but we are dumb when we give to the smartphone. We sacrifice our time and attention, the most precious thing on the planet. And we get from the smartphone some really banal, useless 99% of the time communication. And if it is accompanied with a heart, with a red heart and a smile, that fake emotion touches us, because emotions are strong, manipulative things inside us. So even a fake, small, on a dumb device that we call a smartphone, that picture, it changes our way of thinking. It creates a mood change that we receive a smile or a heart from someone. But we are giving all the time, we are sacrificing our attention to it, to the most precious thing. And we are happy with a shiny picture of a heart or a smile. And sacrificing are happening everywhere. And the most ancient sacrifice, one of the most ancient sacrifice stories, is a story of Abraham taking his son on the top of a hill, getting ready to sacrifice his son. And he loves his firstborn, because the firstborn is the one that will carry on your name and family and your legacy. But the Lord is asking for the son. How irrational. If we were God, would we ask our favorite, I want as a sacrifice, okay? I want the blood of your firstborn. I am God, omnipotent, omnibeneficent, omniscient. And I'm going to check out on you. You have to kill your firstborn. And the fanaticism of Abraham is such that he takes his young son, makes him lie down, and the son says, okay, you are my father. If you are being commanded by the God, the all-loving God, to sacrifice me with a knife, I'm okay. And Abraham gets ready with the knife. She sharpens the knife and all that, all the time waiting. What's wrong with this God? What's wrong with this picture of God, this all-loving God, who's asking me for the one thing that I value more than anything else on the planet. Because at that time, attention was not the most precious thing. At that time, it was all about sons, the eldest, the youngborn. You're carrying off your legacy. Like people would really sacrifice so much. Kings would sacrifice for to get a son. And finally, Abraham gets his thoughts, he gets over them and gets ready without the dagger, sharpens it up and gets ready to kill the son. Sacrifice for Lord. And as he is getting ready, as he starts to strike, in fact, God speaks out. Not just a test. God doesn't need blood. God doesn't need sacrifice. In most places, the sacrifice that God does ask for is the sacrifice of our ego, this feeling inside that and I must live for my thoughts, and I must live for this thing, and I must have this. And that leads us to do animal acts. So we forget that we are source of love, and we start looking for love. And when we are looking for love, because pure love, premium love is really difficult to get nowadays in a world in which everyone is infantile. Infantile is in the sense that people are not growing up. People are just playing with toys, from everything, from smartphone, which is a toy, to electric cars, which is a toy, to working on your computer, which is also a toy. You are only doing data entry at the end of the day and talking with someone. Not really work as per se. So in this infantile world, how can you expect love, which is a premium emotion meant only for the pure-hearted? Everyone else will have sex, will have lust, and be happy with that. Be happy with that. If that is fortunately your level of thinking, then you're fortunate, because you're going to be content. But if you want love and understanding, and most of the time, it's like a lottery money. You might get lucky, you might not get lucky. At a human level. At a higher level, we are not meant for love. We are meant to radiate love. Because we are not receivers, and we are not hungry, and we are not in need of love as much as we think it is. That comes from a traumatized childhood of the body. The body has got millions of stories, and one of the stories is, I was not loved enough. And even if you go to anyone, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, anyone, and you have a sitting, and you tell him, oh, I see through my third eye that you have issues with your parents, usually with the other sex, and I see with my fourth and fifth eye, you have problems in relationship with your parents, and you did not get the love that you deserve. Even if the guy is 98 and dying, and if you tell him, on this planet you spent 98 years and you have become millionaire, billionaire, I see very clearly you did not get the love that you deserve. And the person will start shaking head very vigorously. Yes, you are right. All your eyes are open. This is absolute the fact. All my life I have been looking for love. I am just not loved enough. All my life I have not been respected equivalent to what I have achieved. And I have not received equivalent to what I have given to everyone. To my this and this, to my neighbors I give this, to my son I give this, to my daughter I give this, to my wife I give this, to my mother I give this. And they did not acknowledge. I gave so much, and now I am angry, and now I am frustrated. And it seems that the system is stupid. I gave so much and I did not get anything in return. And I sacrificed so much, and nothing, zero, zilch, nada. In my heart, it doesn't matter whether I'm a billion. In my heart, I feel very poor. And all these, if you have any doubts about my words, USA, the most one of the richest places on the planet, is also the richest place because uh, people are able to afford cocaine and stuff like that. So cocaine from Colombia, etc., is brought in, and it's sold off for $100 to $300 for 10 grams that you're supposed to snorting, so that you can avoid the misery of your rich life. And the others who cannot afford it are taking cheaper stuff and thinking, oh, those rich guys are. I want to be rich. I'll do everything possible to become rich so that I'll be happy. And the happy guys are taking stuff that makes them forget that they're happy or they're even alive, and it makes them reduces them to animal less, and they're happy with that. They want to forget who they are. That's what the drugs are for. All the drugs make you forget at a very core level who you are. So you forget, oh, my father was so like, it doesn't have to be a condition that if your father was a billionaire, then most 99% of the time you're going to be like, he never had the time for me. He was busy making billions, and if you go to the father end, he would end up saying, I made those billions and billions for my family. That's how I showed my money. I showed them that all the privilege that they had was because of my hard work and this and that, or hard work or not hard work, but we just wanted a hug. We just wanted a hug. And a rational man would say, instead of the hug, those who are poor, they would say, I would forego of all those hugs that my parents gave me for a couple of $1 million. What do I care for those hugs now? I would sacrifice those hugs for some amount of money because money is tangible. Hugs are not. So we are always willing to sacrifice even our most loved one. Why was Abraham willing to sacrifice his son? Because the implicit was that the omnipotent, omnibeneficent, if you listen to him and follow whatever, you will get even more happiness, even more closeness to God. And God is what? God is bliss. If God was not bliss, let's say God was terror, do you think there would be so many temples and this, etc.? Even just calling out the name of the God will induce bliss. Just call out in all the cultures, in all the prayers, the name of God or his qualities are hidden. Even if you same those qualities, like you say Om Namo Shivaya, understanding that Om Namo Shivaya means I see divinity in myself, I see divinity in you, I see divinity in everything, I see divinity in everything that is happening, everything that is not happening. We see Ukraine, we see the absurd amount of violence over there, children being killed, and we have no judgments. We have empathy for the whole cycle of the sacrifice taking place. How can a sacrifice take place if there is not an Abraham willing to cut his son? The whole universe is a sacrifice. And we are all one. We are all one. So many people are not able to sleep nowadays. Good. Because so many people are hurting in Ukraine. And it is not that only the Ukrainians are hurting. The Russians are also victims of the situation, but they are indirect victims. Their victimization is at a level of, oh God, I'm responsible now for causing suffering to someone. I am that knife in the hands of Abraham, ready to strike the son that he loves. But someone has to be that knife. Otherwise, if Abraham would have held a sponge instead of a knife, do you think it would have become a story that people would repeat for thousands of years? And somehow, even without the logic or the illogical of it, that a person ready to to kill his eldest son for a God that is just the closest description of God is I am who I am in Bible, and a burning bush. Willing to kill his, if the story had been that he had, no, someone has to be a knife. And that knife is also a victim. That knife is the Russian people. And someone has to be the son. And that is the Ukrainians. And because this sacrifice is happening, all of us have the holy, the divine opportunity of three things. The first is, all of us are in North America, connected by the internet to myself in Canada. So we are all living in peace because the whole humanity is one. A part of us, and in this case, the Ukrainians stepped up and they said, we will be the sacrifice. We will be the place where the suffering will take place. So that suffering happening over out there enables you and me to evolve, to grow, acknowledge that we are not in a war zone. Thank you, thank you, thank you for my life. And with that acknowledgement, we pay homage to the sacrifice and the suffering happening over there. Now that acknowledgement is the first important thing, that thank you. I have a blessed, wonderful life in North America. Now the second is, what do we do with our bliss? Are we going to just watch Netflix like I do sometimes? Or what are we going to do? Just eat calorie food and then become fat? Or go to the gym and just take care of my body? Those are easy options for the people who have totally deluding themselves that they are the body. So they will take care of the body. This is a high level spiritual soul class. So when we have the most precious thing on the planet, our time and attention, we use it to offer, first of all, gratitude for our own life. The moment we offer gratitude with Om Namah Shivaya, or any mantra or any prayer, the first is the feeling of gratitude. In this world, in this universe, the sperm, when my parents were procreating, could have gone instead of left to right, and then there would have been no me. So thank you for the miracle of life that I represent. Then even when we were growing, there were so many points where a drunk uncle could have dropped us. We could have been fallen down the stairs when we were, or done so many stupid things, or just like, drunk driving or anything could happen there. So none of those exit points for us worked. Now that we have life, and there's a sacrifice happening in Ukraine, the first thing is Thank you, God, that someone else is going through, has taken the suffering meant for the mankind on themselves, leaving me with the luxury to connect with you via prayer. And when the prayers are for, I want this, I want that, it still works. There have been people who have worked, who have prayed in different ways for a year, not eating meat, let's say, and doing various rituals for a year with a fixed, I want a rich husband. They have got rich husband. I know of such cases. You were told 1 year you have to don't wash your hair, wear this red string on your hand, and every Tuesday do this, every Friday do that. People got a lot benefits after that, but material benefits. And maybe part of it spiritual also, who knows? But they don't usually work together. So now, sacrifice in Ukraine, we acknowledge our bliss of being in physically safe places with an opportunity to acknowledge that our safe life, we have to pay homage, honor the suffering of Ukraine by becoming, as of this moment, enlightened, fearless, givers of joy to others. Very, very simple. From this very second, I acknowledge, oh Lord, someone else has taken upon themselves the sacrifices needed for the game of life, for the act of life that God asks. Rationally, irrationally, we cannot even understand God. We don't know what the plus is, what the minus is, but we have a third factor. The first is we acknowledge with gratitude our life. The second is we see that we are safe and someone else who's connected to us has stepped us for the sacrifice by undergoing suffering. And that suffering will end up, this is where the third level comes up. We know that this suffering will soon end with Ukraine joining and becoming part of the European community. A huge quantum change in the quality of life. You are one day you are almost like a good people. I was in Ukraine 6 months ago. Beautiful place, beautiful country, very laid back people, but laid back in the sense that it's almost very difficult to make money to get a job in Kyiv when I was there. Now that when it will become part of the European, people will be living automatically much better. Beautiful people, beautiful country, and they deserve it. But to deserve that, they are going through suffering for all of humanity, freeing us so that we can pray not for our body, mind, and intellect. A lot of people call me and say, oh, I closed my eyes, I prayed, and in my head I had this vision. I saw third World War. 3 people called me. I closed my eyes and I saw this vision. And I had to explain it to them that just because you closed your eyes and you had a picture of whatever you fear the most happening in your being created in between your ears, doesn't mean that that is the reality of the humanity. And people can get angry about that because we are very particular. This is my thought. This happened in my head. So what? You have to stop caring for things which create fear and automatically align with things which make you fearless. And even if you see that that's happening, you have to be seeing yourself as smiling, because all these things, even if it's a nuclear war, it's happening at a level of body, not of a mind, not of an intellect. But right now, a lot of people are disturbed because we are all connected to Ukraine And there is a sacrifice happening over there. People are letting go of their bodies. And Russia, unfortunately, is the victim in the form of a knife that is being stuck at the favorite child. And God seems to be an irresponsible. God has got billions of faces. God's faces including life, but in the same less of life, because everything is energy, so everything is going up and down. So life is less death and death is more life. But essentially it is one energy, but an oscillation. So everything is one. For the rest of the world to have the oscillation of peace, Ukraine has stepped up to become the place of sacrifice where there is war. And it creates inside each one of us who is not in Ukraine love, respect for the victims in Ukraine, and a very deeply and very heavy sense of first gratitude and acknowledgement for the blessing of your life. And the third is blind faith. That this will lead to a huge positive change on the planet, starting with change in your heart, which is going to become fearless. So I'll pray with Om Namah Shiva, our basic catch-all prayer or mantra. And the whole group is going to be breathing in and out. And the exercise is very simple. First of all, we are all breathing, but we will breathe in and out in one rhythm. But breathing is at a biological level. It is the first and the last act. So with this breathing, we add Om, breathe in, Namo, open your heart, Shiva, breathe out. So that is the Om Namo Shivaya. It's an eternal cycle of infinity of Lord's love. Om, breathe in. Namo, your heart becomes a temple. Now going to the next level. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. Om. Next level is you start to see with the power of this mantra, this prayer, with the infinite, because we live in very dynamic times. We ask for spiritual evolution. And inside the heart, with the prayer, Om Namo Shivaya, we create a temple in our thoughts, just in our thoughts. We can create anything in our thoughts. We create a temple in our thoughts. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. As you go deep inside yourself with the prayer, I see God in myself. I see God in war. I see God in peace. I see God in destruction. I see God in creation. Because everything is one, but there are different gradations of energy going up and down, because that is what creation is. Apocalypse is when everything ends up and everything is peaceful, like death. Right now we are alive, so there are ups and downs. So Om, breathe in, Om. Namo, your heart becomes a temple. Shiva, breathe out from the chest, radiating love. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. Now your heart is a temple. In the center of temple, due to the sacrifice happening with the suffering in Ukraine, sacrifice leads to a spiritual evolution. That's why Abraham was ready to kill his son. It leads to spiritual evolution and cleanup. So because the sacrifice is already happening, people are already dying. That suffering in your heart will enable you to see yourself not as a body, not as a mind, not as an intellect, but as a microscopic mini golden you in the center of the temple, in the center of your heart. Om Namo Shivaya. See yourself seated on a lotus as a Buddha, in the center of the temple, in the center of your heart, in the center of the universe. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. As you see yourself seated in the center of your heart's temple, as a microscopic golden divine energy, in your heart, see the infinity of the universe. Om Namo Shiva. Fill the universe with your own love. Om Namo Shiva. Now in this universe, find Ukraine and Russia and shower blessings, love, light, and laughter on all of golden Ukraine, which is in the center of the universe, in the center of your heart, in the center of the temple, in the center of the microscopic view, in the center of again the temple of the heart, in the center of your body chakras. Om Namo Shiva. And with Om, you breathe in. I know I am divine. Namo, I know everything and everyone that I see and don't see, understand and don't understand, war and peace. In all the faces, in all the events, I see the face of God that I love. So that is my true relationship with God above, beyond, below, and inside me. That is the relationship. All other relationships are surface levels. My relationship with God is the deepest relationship that I have. And since if I was ever unconnected to God, I won't be able to live on this planet. I know I am loved. I know I am loved. And my looking for love is illusory because I am a source. I am a billionaire who is writing out $1 million checks to everyone that I know of love. So I don't need the $100 of physical, mental, intellectual love or respect that I can get in the external world. I am free from all this. I only need to give love. I don't need any love from anything or anyone. I don't need love of this body. I don't need love of this mind. I don't need love of this intellect. All I want is to acknowledge the sacrifice of the suffering of others and serve them because the others are in me. So I am in them, they are in me. Serve them with pure love and light, knowing that the soul power is infinite. Activate your soul power in the heart and shower the Ukraine in the center of your heart with golden light. All the time breathing in and out, radiating Om Namo Shiva. I'm going to be doing it 108 times with your breathing in and out from the center of your heart. Of course, it's from the nose. But in a word of in an energy connection with us, all the group, you will feel that it's flowing out from your heart, cleaning your heart, filling you with total obligation, acknowledging the sacrifice of Ukraine, acknowledging that each one of you becomes a pure angel of spreading love, letting go of your past illusory thirst for money, power, fame, name, sex, whatever it was that was created because you thought that you are not loved enough. You are the source of love for others. You are the sea of love for others. You don't need any love in form of name, fame, things, respect from the others, or even sex. Om Namo Shiva. Heal yourself, acknowledging the sacrifice of Ukraine, and see Ukraine in the center of the universe in your inside your micro energetical level view. See the infinity of the universe. See Ukraine, bathe it and showered with pure love. Because you are activating your true infinite powers of spreading love. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. 108 times. Feel and let this Om Namo Shiva wash you and clean you. And keep on showering the Ukraine in your heart with pure love. Om Namo Shiva. 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 Om Namo Om Namo Shiva. 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 Om Namo Om Namah Shivaya Sasha, and we see in our heart a pure temple giving love at all levels with total joy, even irresponsibly but unconditionally to everything seen and unseen, with total gratitude for your beautiful life. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. For Brian Gray, Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. You finally let go of your hurt day that you had 21 months ago. And then at a huge upheaval from 21 to 24 years, whatever happened, whoever were in God, let them go, send to them grace and blessings, and you are free with the group's blessing. Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. He and daughter, Om Namo Shiva. Om Namo Shiva. Valya and her health, her whole body is full of blessings. Beautiful life, beautiful person, spreading love, light and laughter, hugging your children, feeling their love. Om Namo Shiva. The body is getting healed. May not need operations if you'll continue to pray with Mahamrityunjay. Om Triambakam Vijami, Sugandhim Pushtivardanam, Urvaraknam Veter Mukshimam Prata. Om Triambakam Vijami, Sugandhim Pushtivardanam, Urvaraknam Veter Mukshimam Prata. Om Triambakam Vijami, Sugandhim Pushtivardanam, Urvaraknam Veter Mukshimam Prata. Elvira, Om Triambakam Vijami, Sugandhim Pushtivardanam, Urvaraknam Veter. Disconnect that you had with a person 9 days ago. Om Triambakam Vijami, Sugandhim Pushtivardanam, Urvaraknam Veter Mukshimam. Gala in Izyati Dochka. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Irina and thoughts in the head. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Irina and Paiska, your trip. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Jean and grandson and son and his wife. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Cat and son and his wife. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Larissa. Om Namo Shivaya. Her whole body is full of love and golden aura. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om. Marina's heart is full of love and the pain is replaced from Ukraine. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Natasha and insecurities about job, life. Om Namo. All of them are removed with blessings of golden light. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Aksana, at all levels, physical, mental, and intellectual, feeling the flow of love, changing your personality so that you become even more fearless and without comparing your beautiful life to anyone else. Ни сравнить, никого не все остальное поверхностно. Тебя чистая гармония. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Preeti and relationships and professional. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Rita, Dochka, and daughter and her friend. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Us and daughter. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Amy and son. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Veera and relationship. Om Namo Shivaya. And money. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Namo Shivaya. Om Trembakam Yadamai Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvaruknanmite Mukshemam Ratat. Om Trembakam Yadamai Sugandhim Pushtivardanam Urvaruknanmite Mukshemam Ratat. Shanti, 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 Shanti. Om Stas, Om Jin, Om Tan, Om Galia, Om Chi, Om Sasa, Om Rani, Om Valia, Om Galia, Om Irina, Om Irina, Om Cat, Om Larissa, Om Marina, Om Natasha, Om Aksana, Om Preeti, Om Rita, Om Tan, Om Vera, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Keep on praying for Ukraine till we meet tomorrow at 6 and for the daily 10 minutes. And then at tomorrow is at 7. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Okay? Om Namah.